You know what time of year it is? What time? Leaves are falling. You don't give no input this whole video. Huh? What time of year? You're not saying nothing. Well, it's fall. Leaves are falling. I wanted Hunter's advice on the best fall baits. That's what I was going for. I guess you don't want to give me nothing. But
Crankbait.
Crankbaits? Okay, which one? Which crankbait?
Which brand?
Yeah. Which one?
Which one?
Yeah.
DT6.
DT6 used to be the staple. Now, what you doing, Lincoln man? Now this has been the one that I've been throwing in the fall a lot more. This is the OG Tiny 4. The DT6 is a staple forever, and I've got them tied on right now in the boat. But the DT4, the water's been really clear this year for me, and even last year it was clear kind of deep into December. And the OG Tiny 4 is just a small, subtle profile, and that's what I've been throwing the most is the Rapala OG Tiny 4. I throw this on 10-pound Sunline crank. That's a line that y'all haven't heard me talk about much. Over the past year, I've kind of transitioned a lot of my treble hook baits, even some smaller chatterbaits, to the crank line. And it's plasmarized coated, so it's really easy to cast. I'm throwing jerkbaits on it, crankbaits on it, a lot of stuff. But like 10-pound Sunline crank, you know, 7-foot casting rod, crankbait rod, and then a 6-to-1 gear ratio reel. But I know Hunter. Hunter ain't no crankbait fisherman. What do you like in the fall, Hunter?
Flipping.
Flipping year round.
Year round.
Year round flipping.
Or
I don't flip a lot in the fall.
Or Chatterbait.
Chatterbait's a pretty good one. What else? Number one fall bait. Everybody says it on all their fall bait breakdowns. Number one.
Jig.
Jig is one. Yeah. I do have one right here. We're gonna go over the fall baits because I've been rigging rods all day for a tournament, and it made me realize that I use a lot of the same exact baits I used like 10 years ago fishing in the fall. But then I use some new ones too. It's kind of evolved over time, and I use some of the same baits just in different applications and have kind of tweaked them a little bit. But this is a jig that I just took off and tied a brand new one on that's just like it. But 3/8 ounce untamed tackle. This is dirty crawl color. That's the best fall color of all time in my opinion. Skip this around, flip it around. We have a lot of drawdown lakes around me, and whenever we have drawdown lakes, the cover gets really isolated, and I feel like there's schools of fish on the cover a lot of times. So in the summer, whenever it's high, flooded, you really want to be very efficient, be able to move fast. And a jig, for a long time, now I flip the breacher a lot, but for a long time a plastic was better because you could just go a little bit faster with it. In the fall it's different. The cover gets really isolated on drawdown lakes specifically, which is what I've been fishing a lot for the past couple weeks. And if there's a school of fish there, I want to throw a jig to them because I feel like it'll catch a bigger fish. So been fishing a jig a lot. 3/8 ounce dirty crawl, green pumpkin cleanup crawl in there, 20-pound Sunline shooter or 22-pound Sunline shooter, 7.3 medium heavy, and then the fastest reel you have is what I put on a jig. So Hunter is forgetting the main fall bait that everybody talks about in their breakdowns, a buzzbait.
I literally was thinking about that, but I thought it was too generic.
It is. Everybody does it. But I've been doing it a little bit different this year and a little bit last year. You know, I used to like a big buzzbait, big like 1/2 ounce buzzbait, clacking buzzbait, some. And then over the years, I feel like you got to have the perfect day to catch them on that stuff a lot of times. And I'm looking for consistency of getting bites on different lakes all the time. So I have kind of refined it a little bit and kind of backed down on the blade size. So this is like a 3/8 ounce buzzbait, typical blade size. I've got it on like a 1/4 ounce buzzbait. I can reel this thing super slow. I like the squeak, I like the metal noise. Kind of gotten away from the clacker. I tried one this year and I had like one day where I caught 2 big ones on it, but then like I just can't hardly get any bites on it consistently. So, and you can see I've got something a little bit different on there. In my last YouTube video I posted, I actually caught quite a few fish on this exact setup right here. You can see that's actually a cleanup crawl on the back of a buzzbait. It's just a smaller profile, and that's one of the things that I'm realizing now, all the pressure these lakes are getting. You have to really finesse and kind of downsize almost everything that you do. So cleanup crawl, it floats it really good, the legs kick really good. I've thrown a toad on the back of a buzzbait for years and years and years, and I still throw a toad some, but this bait right here, I just feel like it gets more bites. You know, maybe it doesn't catch quite as big a fish, although I've caught some big ones on it, but it just seems to get more bites a lot of times. And for me, that's what I like. I like consistency because the fall is notoriously tough. But this is a Lost River Lures buzzbait. It's got the little S bend. I like that. This buzzbait runs really, really true. A lot of buzzbaits with a little S in them, they actually get hard to make them kind of run straight and run well. But this one does. If that cleanup crawl, I kind of file down the head of it and slide that cleanup crawl all the way over the top of it. And I do change this out back and forth with the toad. I feel like I can skip the toad a little bit better because it weighs more and I can skip it further back under docks. But around a lot of cover, I really like this cleanup crawl in the back a ton. So you can see buzzbait, but a little tweak. You know, I've said this before, but I've thrown some other baits like this. Like I've thrown a menace on the back of a buzzbait before, you know, years ago, and they just weren't very durable at all. And I feel like this one's just kind of a little bit of an improved version of that. So we got the buzzbait, the crankbait, the jig. That's the fall staples. And then there's obviously the 2023, 2024 staples in the fall have been the Minnows, the Minnow style baits. Obviously everybody knows this one. This is a Crush City freeloader. Throw that a ton. Like I throw it, this is the exact head I've been throwing on a lot. 3/0 hook, 3/0 Gamakatsu hook, and then this is actually a tungsten jig head. But been throwing this a ton. And then also the Mooch Minnow. This is just something, when it's tough out there and I just want to get bites, the Mooch Minnow is what I'm going to throw. If I'm throwing around brush, stumps, cover, big giant schools of fish, I'm almost always going to go to the freeloader because it's a little bit bigger and I feel like it gets a little bit bigger bites. And that's one of the things that's hard to do. Anytime that I'm throwing around a school, I'm going to try to throw the jig because it gets bigger bites. I'm going to try to throw the freeloader because it gets bigger bites. But anytime I'm trying to pick off individual fish, that's whenever I'm trying to throw the OG Tiny 4, those small little crankbaits, and then the Mooch Minnow style baits. So, I mean, the fall has changed a lot. It used to be like, man, you could just go have a jig, a buzzbait, maybe a crankbait if it was windy, and just cover water and catch them everywhere. Now it seems like the conditions just have to be perfect to catch a limit on any of those baits until it starts to get really cold. Then a jig really starts to play. But these 5 baits right here have really been staples, and I've been fishing a lot of tournaments since I've been home, and these have been some of the 5 that's been on the front deck all the time for a lot of different conditions. But the times are changing, definitely are changing, and you got to get more finessey, more subtle. That's why the Ace jig is so good. You can cut that thing down. It's got the thin cut skirt. We got a baby crying in the background. I don't know what he got into. Link man tripped over extension cord. You get that on them big jobs. So anyways, you can see, you know, jig, buzzbait, crankbait, those have been around forever, but they've just all changed to keep up with the times and getting bites. Like the jig I'm throwing now is smaller, the crankbait I'm throwing now is smaller and more subtle, the buzzbait I'm throwing now is smaller and more subtle, and then now we're also fishing for those fish on bait balls a lot more than we ever have before. Not just bait balls, around brush, stumps, all that type of stuff, but the times are changing, and these are the baits that or the tweaks to the baits that I have felt like have kept up with the times. So tweaked a couple things. Obviously y'all know all about the Ace jig. It's got that fine cut skirt on it. It catches them all year round, but it makes a big difference in the fall whenever that bite gets super tough and the water's still really clear like it is at my house. So these are the baits I've been using. Let me know what y'all use, the kind of y'all's fall staples, because I'm looking for some new baits, some stuff to try, because it's done got tough around the house, but we've been doing okay in a few of the tournaments. But appreciate y'all watching. Boat walkthrough, next video, brand new boat.
I accidentally did a little sneak peeker. Yeah.
Brand new, unknown bass boat. Coming to the YouTube streets on my channel very soon. It is a cutie pie. All right, see y'all.
This is the bloopers. Tell them hey, Link me. Someone dropped your bass. Look. Tell them hey. Say bye bye.